Hi guys, and welcome to another kamicarzCreation video. Lots to do today. The plan is to get it out of the shed, and I've got all those little things you've got to do. So I'm not going to film it all. I'm just going to get in and do it, and the main goal will be getting it out of the shed. So here we are outside the shed and in the carport, but at this point in the video, things really haven't gone the way I planned. We're in the future now, but I'll take you back and show you a bit about what happened and show you a few pictures of the process to get back to here. So I was almost out of the shed and the clutch let go. I wasn't sure what was going on. I thought this is an Ace throw-out bearing that I got. I got this one with the gearbox that I bought online, and I think it may have been. I've had it sitting for a fair while, and this little seal here is quite dry. It may have been that I had the adjustment a bit out. I thought I did it right, but the ram pushed all the way out, went past this seal as far as I can work out, and this seal popped, which dumped all of the oil on the ground, all the hydraulic oil, and she was no go no further. So I end up pushing it back into the shed, back onto the hoist, and I had to drop the gearbox out manually, which is something that I didn't really want to do. It is a pain in the neck, but in the end it worked out quite well. The other thing I did while I was going, when I was assembling the motor, I found that one of the bolt holes that the starter motor bolts onto had lost a fair bit of thread in the front of it, and I put a longer bolt in it, and it only just grabbed on the starter motor, but I was willing to go with that. So while I had to pull the gearbox out, I just pulled the Celica gearbox apart, took the thrust race, my original thrust race off it, which is exactly the same as this one that I can see, and I took my bell housing as well, which had good fixture fastening points for the starter motor, whacked it onto the M20 gearbox, and slipped it back up in the car. To facilitate the removal of the gearbox, I went down to Super Cheap. This was the cheapest one I could buy. It was about 250 bucks, and bought myself a gearbox jack. I'm getting too old and weak in the upper body to lift a gearbox out and put it on my shoulder and drop it on the ground. It was actually really good. I could drop it down, do all the work on the jack while it's still under the car, and slid it back up into position and rebolted it. So good little purchase for 250 bucks. Having the hoist and having that jack made the job so much easier. You still got to be a contortionist to get your hands up around the top of the gearbox to remove and replace the bolts, the 4 main bolts that hold the gearbox in place. But it got easier as I went forward. So here's the Celica gearbox now, which I stripped the bell housing off, and my thrust bearing, whacked it in, put it all back together, and finally got to drive it out of the shed. So here we are out in the sunshine, and as you can see, it was a little bit of a challenge to get it here, but that's car building, and the clutch is working beautifully now. The other thing I found is I had a vacuum line off from the braking system, which was causing it to hunt along, and I couldn't get a good idle on it. I was fiddling with the mixture screws and couldn't get it right. And then when I got it out here, because I was applying the brakes, I thought they didn't feel real good. I then went and had a look and found that vacuum line was off, and she was sucking air straight into the manifold, causing it to hunt. So I fixed that up, fixed a few of the lines up. I got the crankcase breathing system all working well now, and it starts and basically idles. I'll do a cold start for you in a second because I haven't started it this morning, but it is just sitting there and idling really nice now. For the carby, once I got those vacuum lines on, I'd been fiddling with the mixture screws, so I just screwed the mixture screws all the way in, wound them out 2 turns, and that's where they still sit. It's running a little bit rich now, but it starts and sits there and runs quite nicely, idles well, and still a little bit of adjustment too, but I'm pretty happy with where it's at. It's booked in for the 2nd or the 3rd for a rego check, and then I've got to take it down and get a wheel alignment because this is a brand new front end, completely rebuilt, got no shims or packers or anything in there, so the wheel alignment's going to be out a little bit. Anyway, I'll give her a kick in the guts from cold, and thanks for watching, and the next video hopefully gets regoed and I'm driving it down the road. Take care.